whatever you want to do. I mean, it's America. Who cares? Who cares about permits? The oil people get to do whatever they want to do all the time. Now, I own a small construction company, and I can just speak from experience at a very, very low level. You know, we have to get permits every time we do a job. This is how the real people work, right? And I got to pay for that permit. The government cares what E.A. Schultz is building, and it looks the other way when BP wants to poke a hole in the ocean. Does that sound right? Folks, this is really what America is talking about, a real injustice here. You know, just take it from somebody that might be on the take. Did I say that? Could somebody be on the take? Is somebody getting cash whipped on this deal? I mean, I'm just asking the questions. It seems to me that President Obama needs to order the Justice Department to audit everyone involved in permitting. It's real easy. The IRS should just make sure these regulators are 100% clean. Check the bank accounts. They need to find out if there were any backdoor deals or any money under the table for people involved. I mean, this whole thing stinks. Does anyone in the Senate have any curiosity whatsoever when it comes to the permitting process, or is this just big government screwing things up? Some members of the Congress, they were pretty worried about an oil spill like this back in February, and they raised the question. At the time, they sent a letter to Elizabeth Birnbaum, the director of MMS, and the letter states this: in recent months, this is the first paragraph, in recent months, we have heard disturbing reports regarding British Petroleum's Atlantis platform in the Gulf of Mexico. This platform, the largest oil and natural gas platform in the world, may be operating without crucial engineering documents, which, if absent, would increase the risk of a catastrophic accident that would threaten not only the workers on the platform, but also the Gulf of Mexico and the communities who depend on the resources it provides. It seems to me only a few people in the Congress got it. Now, this letter was written back on February 24th. We were talking health care back then. All of a sudden, this letter just slips out the back door. Congressman Raul Rialva and 18 others sent this letter after a whistleblower tipped them off that BP wasn't living up to the industry or federal standards. Big oil companies, do they care about federal standards? It's easier to line the pockets of politicians like Lisa Murkowski or Mary Landrieu, isn't it? The two biggest problems, if you think about it, the two biggest problems this country has had over the last 6 months has been Wall Street and big oil. Deregulation and the lack of oversight has led us to the brink of financial ruin and potentially the greatest ecological disaster our country has ever seen. How do you feel about that? This is the classic example of what I've talked about many times on this program about two Americas. It's to do whatever it wants to do, and they can just go buy off any anti-regulation politician they want, and they can get advocates in a hurry with some cash, can't they? And the rest of us, well, we have to play by the rules. We have to go get these stupid construction permits and pay a fee because we're not big enough to do it the way the big boys do it. I think this is the fundamental problem here. It continues to be the classic example for Americans to pay attention to, all of us, that money talks and BS walks. And the bigger you are, the bigger stick you can swing. And it just seems to me that the Mineral Management Service would have some friends in big oil. Can't we investigate that? The president tonight is showing tremendous leadership by appointing an independent commission to go find out exactly what is behind all of this. And all you have to do is follow the money. Anybody getting cash whipped? Anybody on the take? That's obvious. We have agencies in place that can find that stuff out. Get your cell phones out, folks. I want to know what you think about all of this tonight. Our text survey question tonight is, do you believe big oil gets to write their own rules when it comes to safety? Text A for yes and text B for no to 622-639. We'll bring you the results later on in the show. Joining me now is Tyson Slocum. He's the director of Public Citizens Energy Program. Mr. Slocum, good to have you with us tonight. I want your response to President Obama announcing an independent commission tonight. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's a no-brainer. There's no question that that government has failed us, that we haven't had enough independent, aggressive oversight over the powerful oil industry. It's clear from mounting facts and evidence that BP is responsible for this leak, and there might be negligence involved. They ignored warnings. They overruled some of the contractors on the scene. They knew there were problems with the blowout preventer. They knew there were additional problems with the way they were trying to plug the well. And BP, like it has in dozens of other cases, prioritized expediency and its own short-term profit at the expense of safety.
Now, what about the permitting process? I mean, it would seem to me that this is the story. I mean, if you allow oil companies to go wherever they want to go, they're going to go. If you allow big companies to do whatever they want to do, they're going to do. And all of the righties out there in America who think the drill baby drill crowd has got all of the answers and they can do no wrong, now look what we're dealing with. But isn't this the story, Mr. Slocum, the permitting process? Isn't that where the devil's in the details?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the problems with the Minerals Management Service is that it's had these dual conflicting roles that have translated into enormous operational problems. On the one hand, the MMS is a cheerleader for oil drilling because they are raising enormous federal revenues, selling access to leases, and then collecting royalties. Not always doing a great job collecting royalties, but that's what they're supposed to do. So at the same time, they're supposed to be cheerleading for oil drilling in order to earn that money. They then are expected to be a tough regulator. And it hasn't helped that a number of members of Congress over the years have come down hard on MMS, telling them that they need to back off and let oil companies do the thing, let the wonders of the free market prevail. And now we're all paying the price. And that's why Public Citizen has spearheaded a boycott BP campaign at beyondbp.com.
Whoa. You want to boycott BP?
Yeah, because government has failed us inadequately overseeing BP and other oil companies. It's clear that BP has the worst track record in America of protecting its workers, of protecting the environment. They're responsible for this spill. We've had it. And so at beyondbp.com, we're asking people to sign a pledge not to support BP or buy any BP gas. And I think we need to send a message to this company that has carefully created this mirage of an image that it's beyond petroleum. It's not. It is an oil and gas company that the Department of Justice. Remember that BP was under a criminal probation when this accident occurred after they pled guilty in 2007 to 2 environmental felonies, one related to the big oil spill in Alaska and the other to the Texas City refinery that killed 15 workers.
I'm not sure the boycott's going to do anything. I think there will be some Americans that are obviously going to respond to that. But the whole issue here is how the permitting process works. And if we can't get to the bottom of that, we may never solve any of this. We're not going to stop the next disaster if we can't figure out exactly why we allow companies to do what they do. Tyson, good to have you with us tonight. Thanks so much.